Hello and welcome to yet another edition of DH News Report. Today we'll be discussing the Bihar elections first phase. To discuss this with me, I have my colleagues Sumit Pandey and Shemin Joy. Hi. Shemin, I'll come to you first. Yesterday, one day before the polls, the first phase of polls, Congress leader Rahul Gandhi put what he called an hydrogen bomb, H-bomb, talking about the vote Chori, as he called it, that happened in Haryana. How do you see this coming one day before the polls?
See, he spoke about Haryana, the vote Chori, the alleged vote Chori in Haryana. At the same time, he also said an interesting line during his press conference, where he said that he will be back soon after the Bihar election with a similar presentation. So BJP is reading it as an early declaration of defeat by the India Bloc. But if you see the last 3 months, yesterday's was the third press conference by Rahul Gandhi on the issue of vote Chori. It means that he is taking this particular issue forward. If the first two press conferences were about two constituencies, especially in Karnataka, now he has enlarged that to a larger scale, talking about alleged vote Chori in a state. He is saying that he fears that this will happen in Bihar also, or he saying that the entire system is being manipulated.
He called it Sarkar Chori.
He called it Sarkar Chori because see, in Karnataka he can't call it Sarkar Chori
because it's a Congress.
It's a Congress government. So in Haryana, he believed that Congress was coming back.
But the Karnataka one, Mahagathbandhan constituency was also for the Lok Sabha elections.
Lok Sabha elections, but
this was on the assembly.
This was on the assembly. Okay. But he took a assembly as a a base to discuss this thing. So in Bihar also he fears that this kind of things happen, especially after the special intensive revision. So we have to see what the results are. We can't predict how the voters in Bihar will vote in both the phases on number 6 and number 11. We have to wait till November 14 whether Rahul Gandhi will have to come back with a similar presentation later this year.
Sumit, you've actually travelled to Bihar, and for our viewers, I'm telling you, there are several videos and stories which Sumit has done from the ground. You can access them on our YouTube channel, Deccan.com, the website as well. Sumit, if you could just tell me, what do you think about this? One day before the first phase of polls, if the leader of opposition is coming out with a video, is it safe to assume that this is actually going to have an impact on the first phase of polls?
Well, I don't think so, because the academic research on elections say that yes, 42 to 72 hours before the elections are crucial. Almost 15 to 20% of the electorate make up their mind during that period, and that is a very crucial period. But I think in this election, when I travelled in Bihar, I thought those who had to vote had already decided what they were going to do. And that would be probably reflected in the collective wisdom of the people when the ballot opens. Having said that, in this particular phase of Bihar elections, there are seats, there are areas. See, last election was held in 3 phases. This is the 2-phase election. In the last elections, the first phase was swept by the Mahagathbandhan. In the next 2 phases, they were wiped out. In this particular first phase, there are areas where the Mahagathbandhan did extremely well, including the Shahabad belt, which extends from the west of Patna right up to the Uttar Pradesh border. That is Buxar, where they won almost 20 or 22 seats with CPIML. And there are other areas where the BJP and the NDA alliance did well. My reading was that in the areas where the ML has its presence, there is still that resistance on the ground, ideological resistance, electoral resistance. And having this particular party having worked, the left parties, with the people for a long period in time, they have created their own electoral base over which the Congress and the RJD can ride. They can dovetail their vote.
If I could just cut you here and just put in another line of thought saying that this is an area, or this phase, if you look at it from the last election, the Mahagathbandhan did relatively better. So if the leader of opposition were to bring out a chart saying that okay, there is a chance that your votes are going to be stolen, would this consolidate the India Bloc's voter base further? Is that
I don't think elections in Bihar are being contested on this issue.
Okay.
the elections ultimately are framed around a couple of issues. I see the framing of this election not only, in the context of the present. I wrote a story on the first day when the elections were announced that it is yesterday once more in Bihar. So this election by the NDA has been framed as once again as Nitish versus Lal.
Okay.
The RJD has tried to project Tejashwi. So when you make a comparison between Nitish and Lal, and that is the frame under which the election are being decided, I think that's going to be crucial. Nitish Kumar's image, I personally found that the anti-incumbency which Nitish Kumar faced in 2020 was far more than what I could sense this time. I mean, as compared to 2020, there is a relatively sort of, in some areas, even sympathy for him.
That's a good point you make. There is relatively lesser anti-incumbency in five.
As I could sense.
What do you think is the reason for that? Is that because there are rumors about his health, there are rumors about him being sidelined by his coalition partners? Is there a sympathy wave?
I think, in elections, every election is an electoral journey, socio-political economic journey. And people in every election are looking to better their socio-economic political lives. They're looking for better opportunities, as every human is. And then there are opportunities offered to that person through various political parties. Tejashwi is offering one government job every household. And the electorate has the wisdom to weigh those offerings, what is being offered, on the basis of the work done by political parties, their credibility, their track record, and whether they will be able to deliver that or not. When it becomes a Lalu versus Nitish election, again becomes a Lalu versus Nitish election, then I think under those parameters, Nitish Kumar stands out in terms of governance.
He has an edge.
When you talk about Lalu, then there is a refrain of the General Lalu Raj. There is a legacy. It's not that people are not looking for change. They always look for change. But are they going to buy vote for the change that is being offered? Or when compared to the two, they would rather opt for the continuity than the change that is being offered. I think that's where every election boils down to.
One point I will add to that. In 2020, when the campaign was going on, Tejashwi was considered as a star. Does he have that kind of similar kind of traction this time? Obviously, yes, he is the face, but like even during the campaign, when the opponent's campaign, the NDA campaign is centered only around Lalu versus Nitish. Tejashwi is nowhere in the scheme of things. They are trying to say that it's Jungle Raj versus Sushashan, the good governance.
Okay, now my point is, why is that? Why do you think the Mahagathbandhan has used a strategy of not projecting it as a Nitish versus Tejashwi and keeping it to Nitish versus Lal?
See, in the run-up to the filing of nomination, there were a lot of issues within the Mahagathbandhan. Of course, NDA also had their issues. They could bury it or they could just put a cover over it. The fight within the India Bloc was very open. Congress there were reports that Congress was reluctant to name Tejashwi for the Jungle Raj thing and all. Many things. They couldn't even finalize the seat sharing till the last minute. Then there are friendly fights in 12 seats. So even when Tejashwi and RJD was projecting it as a Tejashwi election, see, you have to say that the whole narrative of the India Bloc, or at least the RJD, it's only Tejashwi. There is no united fight or projection of a unity. That might have hindered.
There's one point I would want to, because I was traveling across Bihar, even if in Patna, if you look at the BJP, NDA, JDU posters and banners, there is Prime Minister Modi, there is Nitish Kumar. It's a joint campaign. You can see very clearly. You have other alliance partners very much in the picture. If you look at the RJD banners and posters, it is only Tejashwi.
Even the manifesto launch, only Tejashwi's photo was there.
So that's very apparent. The other thing is, which I sense was, there was also a sort of disconnect between the moment the campaign started with Rahul Gandhi starting his SIR Yatra and vote Chori Yatra, I think the campaign initially, when they thought could have been entirely on the performance of Nitish Kumar and unemployment in jobs which Prashant Kishor was raising, it got diverted towards SIR and vote Chori, and then again they tried to pull it back to employment. So it got somewhere lost in this.
The messaging.
The messaging got lost somewhere. And the main party, Prashant Kishor's party, which was actually making jobs and employment a major political issue, the very day Prashant Kishor announced that he will not contest elections, it became a bipolar election. See, if you remember in 2014 in Delhi, there was also an insurgent party, politically insurgent party like the Aam Aadmi Party. Arvind Kejriwal contested against Sheila Dikshit, the then Chief Minister, and challenged her in New Delhi, showing his personal intent and the intent of the political party to challenge the incumbent. Here you have a person who has been campaigning for 2 years and he is not contesting elections. Prashant Kishor managed Mamata Banerjee's elections in West Bengal and he took her from Calcutta and made her contest against Shuvendu Adhikari in his bastion. When Mamata lost, she may have lost that assembly election, but the political messaging was very clear that I am going to go down to your territory and take you head on. So that sort of messaging was completely missing.
On the Prashant Kishor thing, even October 15th to 14th or 15th, this announcement of Prashant Kishor not contesting coming up. Only 2 days or 3 days ago, on October 11 or 12, he had said that I may fight Raghopur against Tejashwi. From there was a big climb down.
So, as a journalist who is
even in Raghopur, he was not contesting against the incumbent or challenging the incumbent. He was challenging
Tejashwi
Yadav, who was opposition.
So, as someone who's actually seeing video or who's watching this campaign from social media, I've not been to Bihar this time. There's a perception, at least on social media, if you see that Prashant Kishor and his Jan Suraj party is all across Bihar. What was your feeling what was your perception?
I personally feel that he's raised some very relevant issues in these elections. He's worked hard on the ground, but first, not contesting elections, he sort of fizzled out in the sense that it becomes a bipolar. But I think even BJP, if you speak to them, JDU leaders or across party lines, they admit that sooner or later, Bihar will have to come to terms with the issues that have been raised this time, for the first time. Education, unemployment, industrialization, larger civic issues, administration, streamline those things. That's something which Bihar will have to come to terms and face, not only the people but political parties. But whether that time has come now, I am not sure.
So that's a good note to actually stop on. The first phase of polls sees 121 seats, the remaining goes on November 11th. Counting happens on November 14th. All these days we will be actually coming live to you with videos, and for our coverage you can go to our website www.deccanherald.com. Thank you Shannon, thank you Sumit. For more videos, stay tuned to Deccan Herald's YouTube channel. Do consider subscribing the channel so that the next time a video drops you will be notified. Thank you.